In the year 1980, there was a single blast that tore open more than just a railway station. It detonated a nation's long-brewing crisis of faith in its own guardians. On the morning of August 2nd, a suitcase bomb exploded in Bologna's central station, killing 85 people and wounding over 200. The image of luggage blown apart, coffee cups toppled, and parents clutching children became a symbol of a grim decade. Italy's years of lead. To understand that morning, you must step back into the Cold War's shadowed corridors. After World War II, Western officials feared Soviet expansion in Europe. NATO and American intelligence helped establish secret stay-behind networks across the continent, cells prepared to resist occupation. In Italy, this network became known, years later, by the codename Gladio. Officially meant to be a clandestine line of defense, it operated in secrecy inside a fragile democracy bristling with domestic political struggle. Strong communist and socialist parties, a dominant Christian democracy, and radical movements on both the left and right. The 1960s and 1970s in Italy were a violent crucible. Bombings and assassinations multiplied. A pattern emerged historians call the strategy of tension, the deliberate stoking of fear through spectacular attacks that would discredit the left, justify repressive measures, and steer public opinion toward conservative stability. Some of the worst atrocities were initially blamed on anarchists or leftist militants, only for investigations decades later to expose neo-fascist perpetrators and, more disturbingly, alarming ties between extremists and elements inside Italy's security services. The conspiracy, as investigators and parliamentary commissions slowly pieced together, was not a single neat plot, but a braided set of relationships. Secret lodges, intelligence officers, politicians, and extremist militants operating in a gray zone where legality, patriotism, and ambition blurred. At the center of one of those networks was Propaganda Due, P2, a clandestine Masonic lodge led by Licio Gelli, whose membership list included generals, magistrates, industrialists, and journalists. P2's existence and reach, revealed in the 1980s, became a scandal, a private web with undue influence in public life. Meanwhile, far-right groups such as Ordine Nuovo and the Nuclei Armati Rivoluzionari, NR, carried out violent attacks. Members of these groups later stood convicted for some of the worst crimes of the era, including the Bologna massacre. But convictions did not close the file. Testimony, leaked documents, and parliamentary inquiries in the 1990s showed contacts between extremists and officers in SISMI, Italy's military intelligence, and suggested that some state actors had, at times, tolerated, manipulated, or even facilitated violence to produce political effects. Across Europe, the reaction was stunned. NATO and the United States faced uncomfortable questions about the networks they had sponsored after the war. Some officials insisted stay-behind units were defensive. Others admitted only to the strategic rationale. Scholars and victims' families insisted the moral calculus was different. Whether or not intelligence services ordered particular bombings, a permissive environment had enabled extremist violence to be used as a political tool. The emotional core of the story is never the strategists or the spreadsheets, but the victims. Bologna Station remains a scar on the city, a memorial that records names, dates, and the testimonies of survivors who still ask why their loved ones were killed and who benefited from their deaths. By the 1990s, Italy had passed law and inquiry after inquiry. Some operatives were convicted, some documents declassified, and the name Gladio became shorthand for the dangers of secret power. Yet many questions linger. How deep did the collusion run? Which actors beyond Italy's borders knew what? And which truths will forever be obscured by destroyed files and dead witnesses? The story of Bologna and the strategy of tension is a cautionary tale about democracy's vulnerability to fear. It shows how the instruments built to defend a nation, secret armies, covert alliances, shadow networks, can be turned inward, weaponized by those who believe the ends justify the means. The remains of the station, the faces on the plaques, and the slow, painful work of courts and commissions remind us that secrecy without accountability can fracture a society from within, and that the aftershocks of conspiracy can last far longer than the blast itself.